Well, hello there again, everybody. Kyle Neddenrip here from the Indy Star, and not a great weather night here. Week 2 of the high school football season didn't go according to plan whatsoever. I was out here at Westfield for Carmel Westfield, and we got off to a pretty good start. It was definitely hot. It was very hot to start this game. They started at 7 o'clock senior night, and got started on time. We got until 9:16 left in the second quarter, and then lightning delay. Didn't really. It was kind of confusing what was going on to me. I saw Andy Tebby, the Westfield AD, come out and tell the refs something, and then then they called the basically told everyone needed to leave the stadium because of lightning, which wasn't apparent at first to us who were in the stadium, but then you could kind of see the clouds rolling in and real dark clouds, and then it wasn't too much longer you could actually see the lightning, and the rest of us who were kind of lingering around, they made sure everybody left the stadium basically, and then it pretty much seemed inevitable. It was about an hour delay or so. They were hoping to wait, see how the weather kind of moved through, if it would. It didn't, and they're going to play again at 6 tomorrow, or not play again, but resume the game at 6 tomorrow out here at Westfield. So, and basically the game was really going according to how Carmel wanted it to. The first drive of the game, they took about 7 minutes off the clock. Ran the ball down the field most of the way. A couple nice passes by Anthony Colner, but then, was kind of just running the ball, and Pennington was having success on the ground for Carmel, and they were able to get in field goal range and knocked one in from 25 yards out to take a 3-0 lead. And then Westfield actually had the ball. They moved down the field, got it to about the 32, 33 yard line, had a 4th and 2, and they were stopped. And so then Carmel got the ball back early in the second quarter, and really a nice move on the perimeter. Colner hit Nathan Williams out in the flat, and he did the rest. Went, I think it was 43 yards, kind of weaved in and out of traffic right up the right sideline. I was kind of right there as he zoomed past me and into the end zone. And pretty impressive. Williams, of course, his brothers played at Carmel. He came back in. He was in Chicago up until this year, and then came back to Carmel and gives them a real threat at the receiver position. A lot of speed. He's only about 5'7", but showed a lot of elusiveness on that play. That's kind of what that Carmel offense has been missing. Here recently is that kind of that big play threat type of guy. Who can be explosive in the passing game. So that was a huge play for Carmel. Obviously, got them out to a 10-0 lead, and then Westfield had to kick it again. Went 3 and out, had to punt back to Carmel. So Carmel had the ball back. 2nd and 6 basically is where this game will pick up. Westfield Carmel, at their own 33 yard line, I believe, when play resumes. Again, 9:16 in the second quarter. I'm sure John Hebert not super happy that nothing you can do about it. It's nobody's fault, but they had a lot of momentum right at that moment, and Carmel just really looking like a good team. That we thought they would be going into the year. Westfield was down last week against Center Grove, so they've kind of been in this position before. And kind of the weirdness of the game is you come back tomorrow, it's kind of a fresh start with the score already on the board, and you have to play with some sense of urgency, I would say, even more so than you normally would at the start of a game. So it'll be a little bit weird that way. Again, the game will pick up 9:16 in the second quarter with Carmel leading 10-0. Carmel, again, they haven't won in this series in the last few tries. At least the last 2 games. Westfield has won in the sectional in 2022 and again last year. So Carmel trying to close the gap. Neither of those games were really very close either. So Carmel again trying to nudge their way into that top level of Class 6A, and certainly have done the job to this for a little over a quarter. A long way to go in that game, but it's 10-0. Carmel leads it. That definitely was not the only other game affected by weather. Early on it seemed to be, and then some other games started getting either delayed and later postponed as we went along. One of those was a big one. Brownsburg is leading Cathedral 17-7. That game a little bit later into the second quarter. I think about 2 minutes left in the second quarter for that one. That game will start up tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. at Marian University. Brownsburg got out to a 17-0 lead. Cathedral then scored, made it 17-7. So that one is also in a delay just before halftime. Roncalli and Franklin Central, they'll get a clean start tomorrow at 3 p.m. Roncalli leads that, not a clean start, but start of the second half anyway. It's 13-10. Roncalli leads Franklin Central 13-10 at halftime. So that game just about to start the second half when it was delayed. Fishers and Pike, one of the big surprises, I would say, of the night. Pike leads that game 14-0 in the second quarter, and that game will move to noon tomorrow. So that game will pick up with Pike leading 14-0. So, again, big surprise. Pike did beat Zionsville last week, and Fishers handled North Central pretty easily. So, again, Pike, one of those teams that's trying to get the corner turned under Mike Brevard, and they're on their way, but again, long way to go in that one as well. Avon and Ben Davis, another surprising score, 7-0 at halftime. Avon leads Ben Davis. That game will pick up tomorrow at 6 p.m. And again, you can find all these updates are at IndyStar.com in our live blog or our live update story. How do they call it a blog anymore? The blog was kind of an old name, but I don't know. Anyway, it's on our site. So, but you can find all that there. New Pal and Decatur Central. Last I heard from Akeem Glaspie, who's out there covering for us, 21-21 at halftime, and they were still deciding whether or not. That's about the only one that was still sort of in a delay that they weren't deciding. It appeared to me. Warren Central was actually still playing. They were beating Warsaw 28-0 at last check. I think that game had just gone into the fourth quarter. Yes, it has. So, again, you'll be watching this probably as that game gets over. But Warren Central in command. They still haven't allowed a point this season. Obviously, very impressive defense. Looks like they got the offense cranked up a little bit tonight as well. Some other games that were of note. I mentioned Avon Ben Davis, 7-0. Avon leads at halftime. Brebeuf and Tri-West. Brebeuf was up 27-7 at halftime in a lightning delay, and I'm not sure if they got that one going again or not. Danville beat Purdue Poly 27-0. That game was delayed, and then I guess they just kind of decided that was it. HSE was up 21-7 on North Central in the second quarter. That game will pick up tomorrow at noon with HSE leading. Some other ones here. Kokomo and Whiteland were tied 14-14. That's a good game between two really good teams in 5A. That game at halftime in a delay. Last check, LC was up 6-3 on Zionsville. Lawrence North was up 35-13. I believe that is actually a final. 35-13 LN over Fort Wayne North. That game was played up in Fort Wayne. Also, Noblesville will pick up tomorrow. That game against Homestead was 21-6. That'll be a 2:00 start on Saturday with Noblesville leading in the second quarter. Pendleton Heights 30-0 on Anderson. That game will start in the morning at 10 a.m. in a delay, or in a resumption, I should say. Cecina and Heritage Christian will be played tomorrow. I'm not sure on the time on that one, but it appears that was that game. I don't even know if that game started, actually. Triton Central 7-7 with Hamilton Heights. That game will pick up in the second quarter at 2 p.m. on Saturday. That game will be picking up. So yeah, not a full. I don't have a full rundown of all these games for you. It's actually just sort of just a very, very strange night. It happens. We get these games sometimes, and then we get the replay or get the resumption games on Saturdays, and a lot of times those games are way different than the Friday night part of it. So you just never know. I covered one last year, Cathedral and Chittard. Chittard was down. The game picked up. That was actually a light situation at Arlington, and then Chittard came back and just played much better in the morning session of that. So you never know how that stuff can go. So again, my game here will be 6 o'clock tomorrow. Westfield and Carmel. Westfield leading Carmel leading in this one by the score of 10-0. So Carmel's up and has the ball. So when we pick up tomorrow, it'll be 10-0 in the lead for. And I'm just reading this here. Also, Greenfield Central, 35-0 in a lightning delay. That was at the end of the first quarter, and the final of that one is Greenfield Central 35-0. I guess Greensburg chose not to continue that game, so that game is a final, in fact. So Greenfield Central beats Greensburg 35-0. So some of this stuff's still coming in on the fly a little bit as we go here, and again, I'll do this again tomorrow night. We'll have obviously have some more final results, some games that are really interesting that are kind of in the, sort of going on right now. Brownsburg Cathedral, again, that one was 17-7. That'll pick up tomorrow at 12:30 at Marion. We'll see what happens. This New Pal Decatur game looks really interesting, 21-all right now. That game could go on still tonight. Pike over Fishers, 14-0. That'll pick up at noon tomorrow out at Fishers. And Avon Ben Davis, 7-0 Avon. Ben Davis looks like they have some struggles on offense, so that's interesting as we look at that game out at Avon. So appreciate you joining me here, and we'll have a lot more at IndyStar.com. A lot of this stuff, again, is still to be determined either tomorrow or some of it tonight. Some of these games might have gone final as well that I don't have scores on, so I won't even begin to look at all the games. But yeah, so appreciate you joining me here. We'll have more, obviously, on the website at IndyStar.com, and I'll do some more of this tomorrow night. Thanks a lot.